China is now a major space power. With the Tiangong station's completion, the country has a long-term platform in orbit. The size of the neighborhood in low Earth orbit has now officially doubled. On October 31st, China launched the final piece of its new Tiangong space station, completing its construction. The 18-meter lab module enables a range of scientific experiments and now allows the station to accommodate up to 6 people at a time. It's a significant accomplishment for China's rapidly growing space program, which plans to build a base on the Moon, deploy a lunar rover, and send new landers and orbiters to Mars. It's also the first long-term neighbor the International Space Station has had since Russia's Mir station was deorbited in 2001. This is important for the Chinese space program. The International Space Station won't run for much longer. The Chinese space program plans to have Tiangong last for 10 to 15 years, with the possibility of extending its lifespan, Trinchetti says. A much larger ISS, operated by the United States, the European Space Agency, Russia, and other partners, could be retired as soon as 2030. That's the end date the Biden administration gave it after extending its mission last year. Throughout humanity's history of space exploration and crewed spaceflight, those activities have been dominated by the US and its allies, including Europe, Canada, and Japan, and by Russia, whose space program has lately been in decline. China has now accomplished what Russia and the US did a few decades ago, and it did so quickly, on its own, with some improvements over previous designs. Although preparation for the station began in 2011, including the launch of the first of the 2 test versions, it took China only 1.5 years to build Tiangong. The core module, Tian, launched in April 2021, and the first astronauts arrived that June. The next module went up in July 2022. The T-shaped station, with 2 lab modules connected to the core, is similar in size to Mir, the groundbreaking space station that operated in the 1980s in 90 seconds. But although it's smaller than the ISS, says Jan Osberg, an aerospace engineer at the RAND Corporation, on the inside they have some creature comfort features that improve habitability, and therefore astronaut productivity, less clutter, more wireless rather than cabling, and a microwave in space. The space program may also attach a robotic telescope to it in the future, although the station itself is not likely to grow much bigger, says Osberg. Tiangong's T-shape may limit expansion options, and so will other factors like the need to manage power usage and remove waste heat. As with the ISS, China's station will offer some opportunities for partnerships through which other countries can send experiments, and perhaps later also astronauts, to Tiangong. It already has a Saudi Arabian experiment on board, and researchers from European institutions and other countries have proposed experiments on a wide range of topics, from gamma-ray bursts to space medicine and atomic clocks. Chinese commercial partners may also get involved by launching cargo missions, but unlike the ISS, which continually depends on the cooperation and support of its partners, China has different priorities for Tiangong, says Marissa Heron, a space policy researcher at RAND and a colleague of Osberg's. Their focus will likely be to show Chinese leadership and that they don't need to depend on other nations' space agencies and companies. NASA won't be one of those partners. The agency is prohibited from collaborating by what's commonly called the Wolf Amendment, which Congress passed in 2011. It prevents U.S. agencies from working with Chinese companies and agencies due to perceived national security concerns. To replace the ISS, NASA is investing in 3 possible plans for commercial space stations that would launch as soon as the late 2020s. NASA and its partners also plan to assemble a lunar space station called Gateway later this decade as part of the Artemis Moon program. Thanks for watching.